everyone, Steph here from thegoodrad.com. We are here looking at the Birds of a Feather from Capita. This is the 144. So this is an all-mountain freestyle board, but I feel like it's an all-mountain freestyle board with a little bit of an attitude. So this has a 5 out of 10 flex rating. But honestly, I almost feel like this is, for a lot of other women's boards that I've tried, I feel like this is more like a 6 or a 7 for me. Maybe if you're a heavier rider, it'll feel a little softer. But I think it's a little bit of a stiff 5 out of 10 flex. And then it comes with their V1 profile. So we get camber in between the feet, going to flat sections outside of the feet, and then a little bit of rocker on the nose and the tail. And then it comes with these two very abrupt kind of kick nose and tails. You can kind of see right here where it just snaps up, which gives you a ton of energy when you're popping ollies and hitting features and things like that. This is the 2023 version. I was able to ride this up here at Mammoth in kind of a mix of different conditions. It was right into the spring transition zone, so we got some real snow and some good actual mid-season snow, and then going to like some slush laps later. Yeah, the Birds of a Feather all-mountain freestyle board. So it rides well. It's got a nice solid feel, a nice consistent feel in a lot of different terrain conditions. Nothing has really changed as far as how the Birds of a Feather reacts or rides, or the personality is what it has been for so long. So one of the main updates since the last review I did on this board is that it is now available in a women's wide. The 148, the 150, and the 152 come in wide. That's a really cool option. There's not a whole lot of women's wide boards out there. It also comes with a high quality sintered base to keep it rolling pretty fast for you, as long as you maintenance it and keep it waxed up and happy. So this is a true twin, which means switch is going to feel just as good as regular. The only boards that feel a little bit better switch are asymmetrical twins. So, you know, for those riders who want a very centered feeling ride, the Birds of a Feather would work for that. It has a little bit of a locked in feel though. So it's like, it does have that flat to reverse camber on the nose and the tail, but I feel like that flat camber kind of elongates the contact points on the nose and the tail. So sometimes it feels a little bit more locked in than it does kind of free flowing. So I feel like this is more like the high end intermediate to advanced rider zone. Or if you're someone who just wants the feel of a positive camber board and you like that kind of traditional feeling board, then it's good for that too. Overall, it's a board that can dabble in a lot of different terrain conditions. Feels very stable up on the steeps, pretty good edge hold. It's like in between hard snow and icy conditions right there. You get that nice positive camber, so you get energy into the turns, but you can make skidded turns up in the steeper terrain, and it feels good. It's quick to turn, it's snappy, and it's energetic. From my experience riding it all over the mountain. Off-piste, when you take it through moguls and trees and things like that, it does pretty well. But because of the positive camber profile, it's not a type of board that's going to float well in deeper or softer snow. If it had a little bit more of a reverse camber on the nose and the tail, it would help a little bit. But because of that flat zone, it tends to kind of sink down in some softer snow terrains. So more for the hard pack kind of average snow condition is what the Birds of a Feather likes to ride in. If you have that kind of snow condition off-piste, it's going to turn great through some harder kind of snow moguls or some off-piste trees. It turns quickly if the snow is not super deep. So it's fun there, it's responsive, and it can be very technical as well. And then bringing it to Groomers, again, I feel like this board is very stable at higher speeds. You can ride it in that medium, fast to higher speed zone. It has that 5 out of 10 flex, so it's nice and stable when you're carving it, and it has a good amount of positive camber, so you get a lot of energy. Once you load the board, you can get that energy back, and it springs you into the next turn. Sometimes boards that are positive camber and then you get the reverse up here tend to let go a little earlier, and I feel like this board, because of the flat camber sections, kind of holds the line a little bit longer in the carves. But you can make skidded turns on it. It's playful, it's like an all-mountain freestyle board, so it does like to play around, but in a little bit of a a little bit of a more technical way. It's not extremely easy to butter, whereas like the Paradise and the Capita line is a little bit more playful, a little bit more like buttery and mess around, and this board is a little bit less. It's like one step up from the Paradise. But bringing it into the park, this board is not, I feel like it's kind of on the borderline. Like, yeah, maybe you could learn park on it, but it's a little bit mean sometimes. It's not completely catch free. So you can learn park on it, but you're gonna get a few times where you might like edge catch or whatever, but it is stable and it's very snappy and very energetic. Super fun on jumps. It takes a little bit of energy to get that ollie to happen, but if you put the energy in, it will give it back to you like twice as much. It's a true twin, so you can spin on it and not have to worry about it, but it is just a little bit more in that intermediate park zone, not really the beginner park zone. Yeah, so overall, I feel like the Birds of a Feather would be good for a high intermediate to advanced expert rider. It's enough board and it has enough technical ability that you can really get dynamic in your movements. It's not extremely mean, so you can still play around a little bit. It has a fun personality, but it's not extremely playful. So it's somewhere in the middle there as far as like the playfulness of it. Sometimes it feels like a full camber board and sometimes it doesn't. So it just kind of depends on what it's feeling and the snow conditions for the day. But if you're looking for an all-mountain freestyle board, you like to ride switch in all different terrain, you want a freestyle board that you can take all over the mountain and maybe have a backup powder board for when it dumps, or if you're looking for a true twin board that you can kind of ride in all sorts of conditions with a little bit of speed and a little bit of aggressiveness to it, maybe check out the Birds of a Feather. So it's a look at the Birds of a Feather from Capita. If you're looking for the full write-up and review, head over to thegoodride.com to check it out.